welcome to the Board of Park Commissioners meeting. It is Wednesday, January 4th, 5:30 p.m. on the dot. Thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate it. We are calling the meeting to order. Additions or deletions to the agenda. Item number 2, I would like to motion that we move agenda item number 8, our new business, to agenda item number 7, as we have a guest speaker today with us. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. The agenda approved as amended. Introductions and announcements. I am Chair Goodwin. We have Vice Chair Good in-house. We have Commissioner Larson in-house. We have our youth representative, Sarah Town, in-house. We have Commissioner Wheeler online, Executive Assistant Sarah Smith, and our Recreation Coordinator, Sue Falash.
Recreation manager.
I'm sorry, Recreation
okay.
Manager. I'm
You're doing
sorry,
great.
Sue. I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Goodwin's first time as chair. She's doing awesome. I said correct you if it wasn't right.
Yes,
so-
thank
No,
you.
My correction was it's Falash, not Falash, but
Falash.
that's all right.
Falash.
Yeah,
I will get it eventually, Sue.
I know you will. I'm not worried about it.
And we have Park Director Jen Burbidge with us in-house. And do we have anyone online, Sarah?
Currently, we do not have any participants from the public now.
All right. And Executive Assistant Sarah Smith is in the house with us as well. And we have a guest with us today, Jenny.
Yes, so I'll introduce Jenny Bowersfeld and she'll be able to introduce herself a little bit more when she gives her presentation, but she is from our Public Affairs Department. Hello.
Hey. All right, and so those are introductions. Our announcements for today. Does Jen, I believe you have an announcement for today?
I do. I have actually a few. So, oh man.
I know,
Shoot.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
You want me to help? Here we go, okay. All right, so announcements, everyone, as you all know, Commissioner Dave Weaver passed away the first week of December, and we are obviously so sad to hear this news. We will be honoring him at the January 19th City Council meeting and are trying to get his daughter to attend at least via Zoom. Jen is going to say a few words at the council meeting.
Maybe.
We may be standing, holding each other up as we go through this. And then I would like to speak as well, unless somebody else would like to volunteer from our commissioner group. I'm all for that, but I would be willing to speak for us on our behalf. If you would like to speak, let me know. Or if you'd like to provide thoughts to me, please send me an email or you can call me. We have our directory up, or let Jen know as well. We'd really appreciate any feedback from the commissioners.
And we would love if anybody wants to attend. As you know, you can attend via Zoom or come in person. It's actually going to be a pretty special and sad, and also a really happy night as well. There's a lot going on that night at the council meeting. So anyway, we welcome all commissioners to attend.
And then on January 19th, what time is that again? Just as a reminder for everyone.
Oh, yes. It's at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers, or of course via Zoom. And do let us know, actually let Sarah know if you're planning to attend. Just we'd like to introduce the other park board members that are present. And then also, thank you, Commissioner, for your help. Also at that meeting, we do finally are on the agenda for the Board of Park Commissioners name change to the Parks, Culture and Recreation Board. So that's happening that night as well. I was just talking to Jeanette, also Sealer, our recreation supervisor, before I came over here. She said the Lacey Loves to Read is also public recognition or update on that event is that night. And then we also have Jonathan Stewart, who's a local football legend who went to Timberline High School. He then went to University of Oregon, then played for the Carolina Panthers for about a decade. and finished up with the New York Giants. He's actually going to be honored by the council that night as well. So you know, if y'all wanna come, it'll be a packed meeting.
Yay.
So, yeah, and then on another note, upcoming January 25th, we have a joint meeting of the Parks Board and the Commission on Equity to circle back about the sponsorship policy. As you know, we had the first conversation, and so this is the second meeting, and we do need perfect attendance with our board right now. As you know, we only have we have 5 board members, but unfortunately, the youth commissioner doesn't count as a quorum. She does get her vote in on items, but we do need all 4 for that January 25th, and I do know that you've all RSVP'd, so.
25th?
That is the 25th, 5:30, right here, or via Zoom. And regarding the 3 vacancies, this is my last announcement. I know this is difficult. I just want to thank the commissioners for hanging in there as we try to recruit. The city clerk's office is actively recruiting. But of course, if you know of anybody who might be interested, if you could direct them to our website, there is a place to apply on the website, or reach out to Sarah and she can help get people who are interested to apply.
They have to be within the urban growth boundary line.
So we can have a certain number in the UGA and in the city.
I cover the UGA, right? Is that that's where I live?
Is your address in the UGA?
Yes.
Actually, I think in your packet, do we have the commissioner's directory updated?
Yeah, because I'm just beyond the rack.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Just for the benefit of anybody's watching.
I know I don't get city water, so I
That
know.
might be good at that. That's Bill.
Commissioner Larson is representing the UGA. As is Commissioner Good. So we need city boundary. Yeah. Good question.
Okay. Is that all for our introductions and announcements? Okay. Moving on to item number 4, approval and the correction of our December meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or?
I got one.
Okay.
Under my email address, it should be lowercase Alan Gary Larson.
In the December.
Is that in the minutes or on the commissioner's directory?
Well,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we have to go through that on an item number, in our, yeah, 7B for new business. We'll be going through our directory. I have a correction for that as well. Do you have any corrections for last meeting that we had for December?
no.
Okay. That's great. Any corrections for? Okay. All in favor of the December meetings as they stand? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We can approve that agenda, or I mean, that a meeting.
The minutes?
Yes, please. We'll approve that. Yes. I'll get this figured out.
You're doing good.
Okay. So item number 5, our correspondence. So I trust that everyone has read the Lake Point correspondence, and I did see that the Park Director Jen Burbidge had acknowledged that. Was there anything to discuss from the correspondence that you received? Does anybody have any issues for the next meeting that we'd like to discuss?
Will we have access to the photos?
I can send
Commissioner Wheeler will be the only one. I do not want the photo.
Okay, I'm just curious. I was excited to see the photos in my back and they weren't there.
Please let Sarah know.
Okay.
Know if you'd like to have those.
Oh, great. I'll get them to you.
Okay, appreciate that.
Any more reaction to that? Your letter and communication moving forward?
Just that our animal services has been fantastic in helping work on this, and that it seems to be resolved as of right now. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Do we have any citizen or public comment? Is there anyone online, Sarah, for public?
No,
comment?
we do not have any participants currently in the audience looking to participate.
Okay, and we do not have anyone here as of right now. So we'll move down to our new business, and that would be our compassionate community presentation by Jenny Bowersfeld. Am I saying that correct?
Bowersfeld, yeah.
Yeah, oh, wonderful.
Sounds
Welcome,
good.
Jenny.
Thank you so much, you guys. It was nice to meet everybody. So as Jen mentioned, I'm Jenny. I work for the Lacey Public Affairs Department. I've been with the city for, 13 years. So a long time. And the compassionate community effort is something that we have started with the North Thurston Public Schools and the Lacey South Sound Chamber. So this is actually our 6th year that we have joined efforts with them in identifying a compassionate community project to support for this year. And so the timeframe that we usually, can we share the slides? This is usually something that we run from the beginning, kind of through the school year duration. So it's kind of the school calendar timeline. Hand over the, awesome, I get to drive. Yeah. So there you can see our partners, the city, so North Thurston was the first organization to kind of take the jump with their previous superintendent that they had. They chose to sign the Charter for Compassion. And shortly thereafter, the city followed, and we kind of came together and we're like, how can we, work together to really highlight the way that compassion is shown throughout our community, because there's a lot of really great stuff being done. And so we wanted to find a way to make that happen. So this is, like I said, the 6th year, and this is our round 2 of the Spirit of Giving Back. So this was the theme that we had last year, but because COVID was still pretty heavily prevalent, it made it hard to get groups of people together and just find those opportunities. So we thought, there's still a lot that can be done. There's still a lot of people looking for ways to get involved. So we thought, why not just have this kind of part 2 for this year? And so the goal this year is to really capture the moments. So there's no goal that we're trying to meet as far as number of acts or anything like that. But we're really just trying to promote that we are looking for people to get involved. We have banners that we can give out as people go and do their projects. And we just share it on social media and through our website. So just to give a little bit of history and timeline, I mentioned back in 2015 is when we signed the International Charter for Compassion. And that's just really committing the city of Lacey to be a compassionate community. That was when North Thurston signed it. 2016, the city joined North Thurston, and we held a compassionate community forum at River Ridge High School. And this really just opened up dialogue for what compassion looks like. We had a really great turnout, well represented by many different groups and families and businesses, churches, all sorts of different people came together, and we just had a really great discussion. We had some guest speakers. And then coming out of that, 2017, 18 was our first year of identifying a project that we could really partner with the chamber and the school district. So here you'll see here the different projects that we did. So we've done 2 years in this first year, and then the 2020, 2021, we've supported the Lacey Food Bank location, which is through the Thurston County Food Bank. And it's been really, really great and rewarding to be kind of a part of that from the ground up. So this first year fundraising for the Lacey Food Bank, I don't know if y'all have been out to that site, but to see it, what it started as and what it looks like today. Yeah, yep.
It is truly amazing.
It's really, really incredible.
And the garden in the back is phenomenal.
Yeah, and so the garden in the back was actually the first thing that they developed out there. And the City of Lacey employees have been a part of the United Way's Day of Caring. And so we've been out on site there a couple of different years with a group of employees, just getting dirty and building raised beds and painting the old building that used to be kind of a roadside, just so it wasn't so much of an eyesore while the rest of the land was getting developed. So yeah, we've done some fundraising. We reached 100,000 compassionate acts. And North Thurston had a great tracker on their website that was like a big heart with, that kind of got filled up as the acts got met. And so people could go online and track their acts of compassion that they did, whether it was, I bought a coffee for somebody behind me in line, or I helped somebody build a wheelchair ramp for their house. So that was fun to kind of see that goal be met. 2019 to 20, we did Seasons of Compassion. So that was kind of this image here. Each season or quarter, we identified a compassionate act that we could do. So City of Lacey employees got involved in that way. And then Spirit of Giving Back. And we're just excited again this year really to highlight the remaining stories out there that remain untold. So how can I participate in the Spirit of Giving Back? Like I said, it's really just identifying those opportunities. There's so many great nonprofits in the area that need help and support. And so you just find that project, and you can stop by the City of Lacey, North Thurston Public Schools, or South Sound Chamber. We all have banners that we have available for groups to check out. So you can pick it up if you're going on an evening or a weekend. And we're just looking for those photos. So a group photo with everybody holding the Compassionate Community banner. And then we share that on social media and just celebrate it that way. Hashtag giving back is our motto for the year. And just to kind of get some of the creative juices flowing, here's some of the different projects that we've done. So this is North Thurston Public Schools. They have such incredible participation from their kids and their schools. So every elementary school has a banner. And so as they find different ways to do sock drives or penny drives, they're highlighting that. So here they've done, you'll see there's some people supporting the Little Red Schoolhouse backpack distribution. Meadows Elementary did a food drive. This is showing the school board members. They signed a resolution a couple months ago, I think, for a compassionate month every year. And then Day of Service and the food bank. There's a great mentor program that North Thurston has available. So older students getting involved with younger students and really just being that mentor for them and showing up for them, supporting them. More help at a food bank. And City of Lacey, this is our fabulous Parks and Culture and Recreation Department. Liz does a great job every year organizing the Giving Tree. So it supports the Family and Youth Resources Center at North Thurston. And our employees always just go above and beyond. And usually all the tags are taken and there's extra money for gift cards and food cards and things like that. So this is one of the ways that we give back. Our police department also does an amazing job getting involved in our community. So they're really creative in finding community partners to join efforts with. So they've supported, here you'll see Coastal Farm. Coastal was trying to do a food bank or food donation. And so we had a location here and the police department kind of advertised it through the city employees. So they did that in November, I believe. And then they did a warm clothing drive. That's something different, but they did a warm clothing drive in December as well to support another organization. So, and then these are just from a couple of different community groups. Project Linus, all of these beautiful quilts are given to the Family and Youth Services Center as well, which is awesome because those kids going through a hard time to actually have a blanket of their own, something that they can take with them to different places. Just kind of that comfort piece is really important. And then St. Mark Lutheran Church also did a clothing drive as well. So there's a lot of really great and creative opportunities. I'm excited. I'm working on a couple different opportunities for Lacey employees to get involved. So working with some different nonprofits that we can go support during our lunch break, things like that. I'd love to find a project to get all of our council members, or at least most of them too. So that's just kind of the idea of what the compassionate community, every year we try to highlight or find a different effort to support. So that is about it for a summary of the program. If there's any questions or anything that we can chat about, yes.
The first question I have is where on the website would this be located where people can see people holding signs? Where is that located?
That's a great question. So I think it's under our public affairs page.
Okay.
But we do most of our photo sharing through our social media. So we have a compassionate community website. So if you look that up and like that page and follow along, you'll see a lot of photos being shared. And the gal that does our social media she will share that information on our city page. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I had never heard about the other page, otherwise I follow like pretty religiously.
The
So,
compassionate
like,
community page.
yeah, I've never heard of it.
Okay.
So that, I mean, aside from our conversations,
Yeah.
so, it's a little concerning to me, because it's a very positive thing.
Yeah.
So that would be my only kind of thought or questioning on that. And then my second one kind of bounces off of something that she's brought up previously, that I wonder would be a possibility. She had discussed bringing up nonprofits, like you said, you're working with them, but spotlighting different nonprofits. And, the same way that you guys are holding banners, also spotlighting different ones monthly or something to that effect, where they can, you guys could make a short skit or video expressing, what's going on with the organization to get the resources out. Is that something that could be a possibility to be incorporated in that? So people not only showing that the community is, doing these things and people are caring, but also showing the community what's available to them in their communities to better support them. So, because it's, it's a crossover on both sides, and that is a very supportive thing for local nonprofits and 501c3, because that level of visibility, cross-posting on the city's website or whatever, is significantly helpful and obviously significantly helpful. Coming from a very strong nonprofit background, that's, I know I've had conversations with Jen in the past about that. The biggest problem most time is, I didn't know this existed.
Sure.
And it's very disappointing because, you get these resources, but how do you get them to the public? How do you get them? And so would that be something that could, be?
Possibly. So I would have to, definitely a discussion and one worth having. I don't know exactly, sharing, we have to be selective and careful about what we share on our social media page. So, but definitely something that I can chat with our public affairs team about. And just see what are we capable of doing. I love the idea, and that is kind of the one of the benefits of having, a program like this is sharing these opportunities, or like somebody volunteering at All Kids Win, and creating those bags or something, and maybe somebody seeing that and being like, that's something that I could do with my kids. That would be a great way to get involved, So,
because I know, especially after the pandemic, that, the volunteer force
It's really dropped
itself
off.
is,
Yeah.
because a lot of it was from the elderly population,
Right.
which when COVID happened, they had to pull back and,
Yeah.
go be safe and
Yeah.
do that. And so,
Yeah, I know, like the food
that
bank has
is-
really felt that, because a lot of their
Mhm.
volunteers were
Yeah.
senior citizens, and so.
Well, and I think technology moved really fast
Right.
when COVID happened, and that's what I was talking about, a lot of what the feedback I'm getting from our community members in these situations are, I don't have a phone, I don't have access to computers, I can't get to these, how do I get them?
Yeah.
Because we're collecting, and a lot of people are doing a lot of great works and acts to get the items, but getting them directly into the hands of those in need has been challenging. And some of the resources that we have that are for our public or for our community members has been a struggle, because we're trying to, like, well, you have this, we can get you this, we can get you that. And they're like, yeah, but I don't have access to what we're talking about. Because if you say hashtag, go to Facebook, they're like,
Some people don't have that.
I don't have that. So, and we found out with Panorama that we didn't have access to them through our newsletter. And Sarah and I found that out when we did our canvassing for our survey.
Right.
So
Yeah, 'cause they don't
we've
get a
been
water bill.
sending them out and we're like, how come we're
Yeah.
not getting our, you
Yeah.
know, our Panorama feedback? And
Right.
and they're like, we didn't know, because they weren't getting that newsletter. So yeah, so I think there are target spots that we may be missing of people that we could definitely. And that was just my thought, was the showcasing of what's available, like you were showing us, these are events that are available.
Yeah, and I'll chime in too, and I love that this board is interested in helping share kindness in Lacey.
100%, yeah.
And, you know, that's
Yeah.
what we are all about in Parks, Culture, Recreation. At the same time, you know, the park board will obviously stays in their lane, right? And our department does too. And
Right.
so so I thought this was perfect because how do we connect it, right? And so try to think of ways number one, that the park board can help, so you can spread the word, right? If you all wanted to do something, it's entirely up to you, but if you wanted to do one, you would actually just go to the website and say, we wanna do we wanna do one, and it's in a park, you know, so that's
And
always
you
a good
actually don't
thing.
even have to you don't have to sign up for it or anything like that. You just find a project that you all agree on that you want to do and reach out, you know, my banner's actually checked out at the moment. It is a good thing. But yeah, you can get a banner, or you can still just do the project without the banner. You don't have to have that, you know, we've got a logo that we can put on a photo or something. But yeah, so.
And then the third thing I wanted to mention is that just in talking with the assistant city manager, so she's over public affairs, and she said that the department is working on a community connectivity analysis. And so, and you're talking about helping people know what resources are out there. So it sounds like you're not the only ones like
No,
saying this, like there
No,
needs
and
to
that's
be.
what we were talking about before the meeting. It's like, this is something that like through our communications plan that just got finished this last year, is identifying where those gaps are and really trying to think strategically about different ways besides just your typical, you know, social media or press releases, or, you know, there's still people being missed. So we're definitely aware of that. And that's something in 2023 that we're really gonna be focusing on, trying to reach those people.
Yeah, because I know
So-
like the food bank was interested in partnering with the free clinic. They were like, if we can get our information to the free clinic, so people had it when they come in, because we already know that they're needing assistance with those things, that we could maybe do a partnership, set up a table. Here's the days
Sure.
that we're open, what time you can come by. This is how the bus gets you there. So that's where you're reaching them at their level.
Right.
So I think some of those partnerships we have to kind of, as community members, maybe sew those together
Right,
for them a
right.
little bit,
Yeah.
which I'm totally willing to do, happy to do.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'll need help.
Yeah.
So I'm asking.
As a kind of a thought, I work significantly with a lot of nonprofits. I do like 3 a week, you can ask them. And like what we have more military wise, but in that thing, we do like quarterly, like town hall, for all the organizations and people that work with that population of people. So you could do quarterly town halls to kind of get the network of people and nonprofits in your city. So you could outsource that information to the nonprofits who could come together to provide that information to you. And then while each one shares their information, each person within that network takes it out with them. And it's just like a living, breathing,
Yeah.
system. And that is why, this works very effectively, and that allows you to get to a greater population of people. So it's just like a suggestion of thoughts and helping people. So,
Yeah, thank you.
but yeah, I love this, but I think really taking that one step further, it will be absolutely amazing, and happy to help. So.
Great.
So the banner, we get one by coming here. We
Yes,
ask for a
I typically have one. I'm gonna try to get a couple more from the school district.
Okay.
But the district has one, and the chamber office, Lacey Chamber Office has one as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not,
pass me the mouse,
Yeah.
I'll find it on the website real quick, yeah, to show them, and I think moving forward, just if you think of any way the park board can help.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we're also open
Me
to any
too.
updates, you know, on that kind of thing,
Okay.
so.
thank
I do
you.
love all the ideas and different ways to get nonprofits connected to.
Thank you for arranging this, Jen. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Bears.
Got lots of Jens and Jennies at the table.
Yes.
today,
Yes,
so
we
I'm
do.
Sure, I gotta be.
Yeah. Here we are. Back up a little bit. Some of our stuff is gone. Community awards and recognitions.
Is that
maybe
one
there.
maybe?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, no.
There's that.
know.
I lost my
She always
one.
tells me when we get to one of those.
So
That's only because
Okay,
of
so
the
we
parks.
will
I
make
think
sure-
it looks like maybe Kelly has done some different, somebody has been
Yeah.
doing.
Construction.
I saw
Yeah.
it, I looked it up before, not too long ago, so. I know that-
Literally have like updated the page, so I'm not sure where it went. As you guys know, the website is
Yeah, well,
relatively
believe me,
very new, and
They've
so
been
we're,
helping find stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm always hiking and I was searching and I'm sorry, this is not found.
Okay, where did that?
Yeah, I feel like I saw it. Okay, so I'm going to, yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna share this. screen.
It doesn't even look like all of it.
I had too much coffee today.
So that's just, yeah, it gives,
There were pictures when I saw it before.
yeah, see, that's not the whole.
Just a word for me.
That's not volunteer.
Okay,
Oh, projects tab.
oh, there it is. I
There.
found it. Okay, so here's the cheat, yeah, citylacey.org / compassionate - community.
Yeah.
/ but yeah, you can get to it if you search.
Yeah,
It's
the
just,
search engine really does do.
there's the pictures and it shows how to do it. Got the banner, do the project, take the selfies, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like I said, we really are doing more of the sharing through the social media pages, through the Compassionate Community Facebook page, and then our own. So, and I think North Thurston, they used to send us all their pictures and everything, but then we're like, you guys can have access to it too. So they're just posting their own as they have projects, and then we do ours too. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Nope, this is awesome.
Thank you very much for all
Thank you,
your work.
guys.
Thank you for putting this
Yeah,
together.
thanks, Jen. Thank you for the opportunity. I think
Yeah.
it was really nice to meet all of you.
I have a sneaking suspicion we'll see each other again.
I hope so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jenny.
Have a good night, you
You
guys.
too, thank you. All right, so moving on to our 2023 Park Board Commissioner Directory. Let's see, and I think everybody received that in the agenda packet. For me, I have a correction for my zip code. I'm 98503.
Okay, and we'll make sure Sarah's grabbing these changes.
Yep.
Okay,
Excuse me, I emailed Sarah my change, my work phone number's changed, so I emailed her that.
and Commissioner Larson, did you have a change as well?
We had a lowercase on my last and first name.
Okay. Did you catch that one, Sarah?
Yes.
I'm good.
Thank you.
And do you have anything for your youth representative?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then Sarah Town has an edit to her email. It's SARAHA Town.
You get that one, Sarah, middle initial A?
Middle initial A.
Yeah, for her email address.
All right, I will get those updated and I will get an updated version emailed out to everybody.
Thank you, Sarah. Much
You're welcome.
appreciated. All right. Anything else before I move on to the next item? So next item is the Wildlife Information Project update, which we've been working on as a group. Commissioner, Vice Chair Good, Chair Goodwin and Sarah, we've been working on getting the information put up for the parks at this time. So we did some notes for that, and I've reached out to Sarah and Camber and sent emails about kind of what my thoughts are on this. But I did need some direction from our park commissioners and the director as well, of to which parks that we would like to target for the setup of the QR codes, which would be available within the parks. Is there any thoughts on which parks would be of most importance to the commissioners at this time?
I know the ones that initially I think of would be Wanchers, Wonderwood, and Woodland Creek, because those seem to have the most diverse birds that I've seen.
Closed Loop Park, the one that's down there by Top Rung.
Which one, the new one, Great Cuyo?
No.
Oh, a Meridian?
No, the one, yeah, that's almost by Top Rung Brewery. That's right there. It's Closed Loop Park.
Oh,
Closed.
Oh, Closed Loop. That one isn't a city park.
Okay.
So Woodland Creek, and then you said Wonderwood?
yeah, Woodland Creek, Wonderwood, and Wanchers, because there are bald eagles and ospreys, on Hicks Lake, and I thought that would be a good spot for there.
Long Lake?
Long Lake?
Oh, Long Lake would be good as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
There she got everything.
You like Long Lake to be as one of
Well,
them?
especially when we got the new piece going in there.
And a notation on that, would you explain the algae that happens every single year?
Okay. I'm gonna look at that.
I just know that, and then
Yeah.
also.
You don't like the bloom, the lazy bloom?
And yeah, that, and then also the coastal plant life that is protected as well. It would be a very good one to do, because I have to have this constant conversation with people about like our park off of Long Lake, so.
And then did we want to put Lake Lois Habitat Reserve, or would you like to work with the Boy Scouts with that?
Yeah, so I think we should definitely put Lake Lois Habitat Reserve. That one's actually on the work plan. And it looks like we have a Boy Scout troop that's interested in helping with that project. So I think that'd be a great one. Also Great Cuyo Park, since that's a new one that we're gonna be opening, we know there's a lot of natural areas, wildlife corridor area. And since we are going to be, actually that one, I think the focus is on the website, right? For now, with potential for the QR code to go out, but we will be doing signage at Great Cuyo Park. So that would be a good one for QR code.
Because my thoughts are that we get it built just so all the wildlife is available. And then eventually we target the specific, getting specific parks hooked to those habitat or those wildlife entities as we move forward. Because I think the build with Sarah will probably be a little while. I don't know how long that will take. So that was just my first question or what our thoughts were for the parks. Do you have any needs representative that you can think of? Any parks that you would like interpretive habitat information on that you can think of?
I think this covers most of them.
You like those? Okay. And then I brought the brochure, Sarah, to Jen. She has it in her hand. So that'll give us the wildlife and habitats that are available that we received from the Nisqually Refuge when Commissioner Good and I went.
Also, Nisqually Reach wants to help with the process. They do not have the signage outside like you're speaking of, but they want to help information wise. The director unfortunately had a family emergency and there's illness in the family and he has not been able to meet with us yet.
Okay.
The other groups I would recommend, so US Fish and Wildlife, and then also the Black Hills Audubon
US Fish and
Society would be interested, I'm sure, in giving information, helping with this project.
What would be the thoughts on like the Nisqually Tribe
Yeah,
Incorporated?
yes.
Is there like a contact the city may have? Because I don't know, do you have a contact of the?
I
So,
do.
Yep, we've got a couple different contacts. So, and I mean, maybe Squaxin Island Tribe as well. Yeah.
And then item number 3 I had was that Sarah will need a date and time. Sarah Smith will be setting up a date and time to meet with Glynis from Nisqually, the Billy Frank Jr. Nisqually Refuge. She is the director for that area. And then we have Jamie Oakland, and he's of course with facilities to help get us on site. And then Sarah Smith would be available to go as well. And I said that I would go if any of the other commissioners, when Sarah gets that established, a date and time for us to go back out and look at Great Cuyo Park with Glynis as a group. And so Commissioner.
I really want to go. I didn't make it the first time.
Yeah, so Commissioner, that'd be Commissioner Good, Sarah, and Commissioner Goodwin. Would you like to go out to Great Cuyo Park?
What day?
We don't know yet, date and time. Sarah's working on getting that.
Yeah, work in progress.
On the date and time,
Okay, but you're interested?
but I'm interested, yeah.
Commissioner Larson, are you
I'm
interested?
gonna walk it.
Oh.
I'm gonna walk it.
No, we'll probably do, I don't know.
Well, it's really rough to walk. So like last time we went out there, well, it's with the person from the wildlife refuge. They're gonna probably wanna walk it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
yeah, but we can take photos for you. Would
Okay.
you like that?
Yeah,
bring
my
back
hips, I
information.
can't take it.
Yeah, we'll bring information back for Commissioner Larson. Commissioner Wheeler, would you like to join in our adventure? Oh, you're muted, Commissioner Wheeler.
No date yet?
No, not yet. I'm working with Gwyneth. I'm working with Gwyneth to get some information on when she can go. Jamie suggested March or April, and so we might be looking more like March or April, which lines up fine because our joint work session is March. So give us something to talk about in April.
Heck yeah, count me in.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sarah, for arranging that.
Of course. Thank you for doing all this work.
Oh, yep. And then we have Sarah, Camber, and I, after we kind of do a review and assessment of the information that Sarah gets from the brochure and kind of put an example together for us as a presentation. We might do that as April then, because if we don't do our tour till March, maybe April, May, we would have something ready for how the QR codes would work and what we'd have available for everyone to kind of look at. Is that seem
Yes.
reasonable?
Depending on when in March we're able to go, I'd say probably April, May is a good timeline.
Okay. I don't want to overwhelm anyone. Okay. So that's really where I stand right now as far as the information of what we learned at the Wildlife Refuge at this point from Nisqually when we went. Are there any other questions or anything I missed?
I'm just super impressed with all you guys have been doing.
I'm excited. It was really fun and I'm excited to do this again, this walk again. Do a tour. So I've got our list and then I'll kind of put those up. I'll put something together for us and then get more information from the Audubon, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Nisqually Reach is willing to help. And then you're gonna try to do Squaxin Island and Nisqually, maybe reach out for that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, if you guys got contacts to the tribes, that would be, if you want to reach out to me with that or
yes.
put me
so-
CC on an email or something.
Sarah, if you could add to your list to, I think Erin has the best contacts.
Okay.
Want to do that? That'd be great. And get those over to Commissioner Good. Yes.
Kind of speaking to the tribe, we had spoke about it of like Great Curio Park with the blessing of like the land with the tribes as well, you know, is also being thought.
Yeah, so for the grand opening of the park, maybe?
Yes,
Yeah.
or something to that effect.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Just with the land and everything, I feel like that, how much that they, you know, assist and aid and overlap into our community, I feel like that's important to do.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Anything else before I move on to old business? Okay, we have Great Cuyo Park Phase 1A update.
Speaking of, this is the very park we were speaking of.
See how I led into
Yes,
that?
that
I
was
just
a-
like slid it.
That was a perfect segue. So I have a quick update. I did give the December 8th update to city council. Finally, that was the one that you guys had last seen. Most of the slides were the same. And made sure that they knew that we're still on track with the budget, with the approximately $5 million for the budget for phase 1A. And then right now, we're just meeting bi-weekly with the consultants to look at placement of the picnic tables, benches, trash receptacles, bicycle racks. We have started looking at the playground, knowing that from the public, they want the nature theme. And so we are, we've just been doing a lot of work, like looking through different types of nature playgrounds and really wanting, you know, part of that, remember the cloud, the word cloud, it needs to be iconic as well. So even though nature is beautiful, we don't want it to look like just nature. So, so we're trying to really find something really fun and unique. And then also, obviously, in that word cloud as well is the accessibility piece for the playground. And so there's just a lot of work still to be done on that piece. But the good news is that we still have time to make that decision. We have the space allotted for, and so we're just kind of tweaking what that's gonna look like. So
What is your fall protection? What is the city standard? They just use chips or?
So, so there are ADA compliant wood chips, but for this particular playground, it's looking like it's gonna be probably synthetic grass. So there's better access surfacing, which is the pour in place, kind of the bouncy stuff, like over at the train depot, Lacey Depot playground. But a really cool option is the synthetic turf. And so it actually looks like natural grass. And it also is accessible for those who use a walker or wheelchair. So we're looking at either a combination or of the pour in place and the synthetic, or just the synthetic turf, the site. And hopefully soon we'll have some photos for you and renderings that we can show. That's all I have on that.
And then we're on to item B here, Young Child and Family Center of Lacey update.
Yeah, just to keep the board updated, the partners, so the school district, city, and the YMCA met December 13th. There have been monthly meetings. There's another one coming up January 24th. And what the group is really looking at is a timeline and potential funding sources for the Young Child and Family Center project. They did decide at the last meeting to reduce the legislative ask for a better chance of receiving funds. So that's something that the group had worked on, doing a joint ask to try to cover the design costs, but it was up in the $6 million range. And so it was deemed a little bit too much for the community project ask. So that is getting tweaked right now. They did, I can't recall if I debriefed the board that the three partners also went to the base on November 29th and met with the garrison commander, Colonel Lamb, who you know. So he did show general support for the project. He also expressed concern over lack of the use of the base recreational facilities. And so there might potentially be, so he's really wanting to get more activity there on base. And so we might end up touring the city, a couple of us, someone from public affairs and myself may end up going up there and just, you know, touring and talking about what their challenges are with their recreational facilities.
Go fix it.
What's that?
Go fix it.
Yeah, I mean, happy to, you know, collaborate any way we can, so. That's all I have on that. Kind of a quick one.
Okay. And then we have the Lacey Park Culture. Oh, did you?
Oh, he's got it.
Sorry.
And actually, Chair Goodwin, I was going to ask if we could adjourn just for a brief break, since we have the comprehensive plan, which is gonna be a large discussion, and just have a,
Okay.
that's all right.
Yes, you may have a break. And how do
Okay.
you want me to say and break?
Just say we're temporarily adjourning.
We're temporarily adjourning unless somebody's opposed.
Yeah, until like 6:21.
All in favor? Aye. Resume in 10 minutes.
Or just a couple minutes, so you can just leave it live on the screen. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Would like to resume the meeting. It is now 6:23 PM. Welcome back. And we are now going into the Lacey Park Culture and Recreation Comprehensive Plan Draft. Buckle your seatbelts. And Jen,
Buckle up. We are so excited to really dive into this. I want to thank you in advance, the board, for your help with this project. This will really be the most important thing we do together this year. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you are as well. And as you know, the comprehensive plan is the roadmap for our department and also helps it, guide the work plans every year. So yeah, super exciting. It is a very large document that we have provided to you. We provided the link and actually to Commissioner Larson, a hard copy. There's a lot of proofing that's going to need to happen like on your own for this project. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen too. But we'll need to discuss the meat of the plan together more thoroughly. For example, the strategic goals, the objectives and policies to help meet those goals, the levels of service that we indicate in the plan, and then the prioritized actions, which will be based on need, staff input, and most importantly, the public input that we've been getting in. So tonight, we're going to go through the draft together. I'm going to provide a high level overview. I'm going to try to get through it fairly quickly, but also need to obviously pause if there's something we need to discuss. And then we'll capture any feedback and edits that you have tonight that you want to provide. And then, and I apologize that it is such a large document. It was really important to us that you actually see the tracked changes from the last version. And then what we intend to do, even though it's harder to read it that way, but what we'll do after tonight is we will accept those track changes and we'll put it into a clean document. We have a better, more improved format that we want to use. So Sarah is planning to work on this over the next couple days to dump it into the new format. And so it's going to look a lot nicer the next time you see it, and we'll be getting more of the maps inserted as well. She's also going to add our new logo and our new-ish logo. It just has the old one on the plan, the old plan, and the icons that go with it. And yeah, like I said, other city staff have been working on maps. And then before I do pull it up and we get into it, I just want to acknowledge a couple things that I am still working on. I'm updating the executive summary. I've put some notes in there, but I haven't finessed the wording yet. I want to tighten up tying the public input to the needs, to the prioritized actions, so that there needs to be, a little more narrative there. I need to add the transit access wording to policy 9A, and I'll show you where that is. The recreation level of service review, we need to better identify the difference between, and we've talked about this before in receipt of our public input, but we really want to identify the difference between the general public input and then those specific user group, like sports field user groups, because they're two different things. I mean, there's some crossover, but they really become two separate type of user groups for our parks and facilities. And then also acknowledge a couple of things that our public affairs and GIS are working on. I'm so excited to show you guys the improvements with the maps. So we'll have more of that later. I'll show you a little snippet tonight, but they're working on demographic info, like in the beginning, to have, and actually I brought an example to show you of the demographics. Now, these aren't the exact ones that we're going to use, but this is an example of, so we can show what Lacey is made up of. And then as we do our mapping layers, whatever demographics we decide to go with, and we just want to make sure that there's consistency and that we want to define the data source that we're using the demographic info from. With the mapping layers, we also want to do show different race and ethnicities in Lacey, and also show socioeconomic layer, and then we can show those layers and how they relate to our parks and our facilities and the locations of those. So we can talk about access. So we're excited about those map improvements, and they are still working on that. So you won't actually see that in this draft.
Hey, Jen?
Yes.
You guys, is this the comprehensive plan for 1 year or a 5 year?
This is for 6 years.
6 years.
Good question. Yes. This is our vision for 6 years. or we update it every 6 years, but what we do in the prioritized actions, we do next 5 years. And then we do later than that.
Okay.
So that's how we differentiate in the prioritized action section. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so let me do it up. See it, one sec. There. Yes, okay. Not seeing that one. Why isn't that coming up as an option? Where'd you go? Do you see it?
And it says it's not syncing.
Maybe scroll down.
Oh,
Excellent. See, that's why we have you. We've been stuck here
That's
all
right.
night without our you.
That's right, thank you.
Representing.
Thank you. Too. Okay, so if you want me to stop, please be very vocal about it, because I'm gonna, like I said, give you an overview and I'm gonna make you a little bit dizzy, so I apologize in advance for that. So a lot of the stuff in the beginning, I'll just get updated.
I got a question on
Yes.
Arts, Culture and Recreation, department, you've listed just you and Sue and Sarah Smith. Should you list the other directors too?
Oh, the different staff. We can, so what's listed in here are those staff who are taking the lead on this project, on the comprehensive plan update.
Okay.
But we can list the whole department staff. Yeah, actually, I like it. No reason not to. And then we did work on, you guys have already seen the vision for Parks, Culture, and Recreation. We are adding the heritage wording in. Is this big enough for you guys to see? Or do you want me to make it a little bit bigger?
Bigger if you can.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Okay, is that better? Yes, and let's see, Chair Goodwin, is this where you had some input
I'm on goal one.
on the vision? Oh, you're on goal
No,
one, that's
goal
right,
one.
okay. So table of contents, obviously that's gonna get updated. Okay, so strategic goals.
Under the first item there, I got strategic goals, I only have 5. You got 7.
So we went from 7 to 5.
Yeah, but on your printout, it said 7.
So we did track changes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be, is it crossed out on yours? Goal 7 is crossed out?
No, I did that. That's my ink. I
Oh,
got 5 on mine. I had 7 on my printed and I
You
only
crossed
found 5 of them.
okay, you should have 5, but again, it's kind of messy because we showed the track changes of where we came from and
Yeah,
where.
okay.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go back up to goal number 1. And this is one that you had some feedback?
Yeah, for me, I think we take out the A, just develop high quality, equitable, diversified parks, culture and recreation system. And then take out where physical, financial and social go to social barriers. And take out to use and just say by adding unique facilities.
Okay, so this one was actually added in by the Commission on Equity,
Okay.
and it's because of the access piece. So let me read it to you. And
Okay.
so develop a high quality, equitable, diversified parks, culture and recreation system where physical, financial and social barriers to use are eliminated. And that includes unique facilities, events and recreation and cultural programs that encourage social interaction, cultivate community spirit and strengthen the livability of Lacey and meet community needs. It's a lot.
It is.
It's a whole lot. So we can rework it, but the physical, financial and social barriers to use,
Yeah, and-
eliminating those it's super important.
Yeah, where I know, say where physical, financial and social barriers are added, right? Where physical, financial and social barriers are limited.
Barriers.
I
to
had
use.
like this in my mind. I
Oh,
never
take
really-
away to use and
Yeah.
just say where physical, financial, and social barriers are eliminated.
Uh-huh. By adding unique facilities or something of that nature, which includes or something, it's just a lot of ands in there. So it's like,
Yes.
which include unique facilities.
Yes.
Which includes unique facility events. That's what I meant to say. I have it on my goal number 1. It just had a lot of ands and though it was kind of repeating. It felt like more as or physical, financial, social barriers are eliminated by adding unique facilities. Or which includes unique facilities, which include unique facilities. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And, you know.
Because I want to keep that in there. I don't want to I want the physical, financial, and social part in there. But we're providing unique facilities to counter that, right? The physical, financial, and social barriers. Where physical, financial, and social barriers.
Well, we want a park and program system where these barriers are eliminated,
Eliminated.
basically.
Yeah. But the to use.
We
I
want them
think-
to include unique facilities, events, and recreation and cultural programs. And we might consider just making another sentence in here because it is very long.
Yeah, where physical, financial, and social barriers are eliminated. So I think that to use needs to be taken out, are eliminated. And by adding unique facilities, events and recreations and cultural programs that encourage social interaction. So take out to use are eliminated and by adding unique facilities. By adding unique facilities, events and recreations and cultural programs, we encourage social interaction, or the parks encourages social interaction. I think that to use is what's confusing me.
Yeah, so we'll take to use, we'll take that out.
Yeah.
Are eliminated. And then I think you said, one of the options you said is which includes
Unique,
unique facilities, events and recreation, cultural programs. And then I think you do a period after here and then we finesse it a little bit and we.
This encourages social.
yeah,
this
something like that.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
encourages social interaction, cultivates community spirit and strengthens. Yeah, I like that better. Sorry, it just was really stumbling for me. For some reason, I just could not. Obviously, I'm
I
still
agree.
stumbling
No.
through it. I'm like, okay.
Do not apologize. This is what we're here for.
Okay, but I like that better with the finessing and then making that, which encourages social interaction. Because that's what you're trying to get to, is that all of us are included to encourage our social interaction. That's what, I like that as my goal. I am behind that goal, so. Yeah. And that's all I had for goal number.
Okay, and anybody else on the goals? We will see them again under policies and objectives too. So you'll get another look at them. And we have looked at them already, so, and Aram I see is shaking his head. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna skip down.
So this is our first draft.
First draft, yes. Yeah, we'll be working on this every month,
Okay. good.
so.
You get more opportunities,
Yeah.
Commissioner
I didn't
Larson.
finish it all.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a long one. Yeah, it's a long one and it's important enough that, yeah, we need to make sure we thoroughly go through it. So with the public involvement, again, I still need to insert some more information and some more details. And I'll likely put maybe a few snippets of the graphs in here, but then we'll refer to appendix, whatever it ends up being for all of the, we will include all of the public input into this plan in the appendix, but we'll pull out, I'll show you what I mean when I show you the Great Keogh Park section, because I pulled out some of the graphics that the consultant had used for that. But open to any suggestions you have on the public involvement section. It's a lot about what we obviously have done in the past couple of years with the Lacey Cares outreach and then the Energize outreach and then our outreach team that we put together. Again, providing a few charts here. We'll talk about how the park board is taking the lead. We'll get some updated pictures. I've got an idea that I'll have Sarah work on for like the different steps that the plan's gonna take, kind of the arrow, you know, the different commissions that it's gonna go through. That's indicated there. If you have any update on the park history, I was gonna zip through this part. This is something, again, you can read on your own and make sure if there's anything you wanna put in there. Got our acquisition history. Kudos to Jamie Oakland in our park maintenance. He has gone through this with a fine tooth comb, really appreciate his efforts in helping us to update this. We remeasured everything and we were able to make a few little updates on acreage. Really appreciate that. And obviously we were able to add the changes that took place during this planning period. You guys are aware of those. Facility definitions. Again, just zipping through this part. If you have insights you want to share, let me know. This is one that, it's interesting with the open space definition and the conservancy site. So I just had a note to myself here, either remove this or categorize some of our properties with this classification because we don't currently use this. And so after doing more work after this, I do not want to remove it, but I think that our habitats should be coined as conservancy, and I don't know why they weren't in the past, so.
So are we just changing the title of conservancy sites to habitat sites or?
I don't think
Does it need to
so.
say is conservancy?
I think conservancy can stay, but a habitat would be, if you read this, common features include wetlands, wildlife habitat, and historical sites and structures. If you want to read through it on the next draft, and if you have suggestions, let me know. It seems like we should have both open spaces and conservancy sites, but there is overlap. Okay, so this one, levels of service standards. This is one that I do want to talk about. So there's in the beginning of the section of the level of service, there's some kind of broad descriptions of what a level of service is. And then we get down to, and so then there's a description of what a national level of service might look like. Then we get to the Lacey level of service, which is super important for this plan. So many local agencies adopt their own level of service standard because each community is different. And so it is, there's a lot of suggestions on how to do it. And so I just think it's interesting that, and I've read a lot of different plans and looked at how they're doing it. There's many, many, many different ways to do it. But I think it's kind of cool that we can, as a local agency, we can adopt our own. And what made this most sense to me and the staff that I worked with on this is in identifying that in the 2017 plan, this was the last update that we did. We identified having a neighborhood park or trail within 1/2 mile of each resident. And having a community or a regional park in each of the 10 planning areas. And so on our last plan to measure the level of service, the maps indicated a 0.5 mile radius from the outside of each city park. So 0.5 mile radius and a 10-minute walk are kind of used interchangeably. And I think we've had this conversation before, but I wanted to show you, we did it just as the crow flies. And so what we've worked on this time, I'll show you an example. And kudos again to our GIS staff and Jamie Oakland has done a ton of work on this. So this actually shows the parks with an actual travel shed. So do you see how the lines aren't just circular? And you'll see the other map when we go through the plan. But this is just a more realistic look at really, if there's like a private property that someone can't access, or there's a major highway that's hard to cross, this gives a better picture of what our access actually looks like. So that's something that's going to be new for this plan. And we will definitely get into this a little bit more. The next update.
I had a question back here. Well, under my paperwork got all screwed up in page numbers, but where you were talking about the level of service, and you said this is significant due to the importance of health, wellness benefits of getting physical activity and connecting with people socially. I think we have to put a period, and mostly to me seems the disabled, and, mentally or something like, mostly,
Mm.
you can take it two ways, I know that.
Okay, which page is that on?
Well, I don't know, none of them.
Because I think you might be ahead of us here.
No, I think I saw it earlier,
Did you see it earlier?
yeah.
Okay. Let me,
When you had level,
level of service?
yeah. Plan identified the local level of services.
Yeah, so we were just talking about the parks and then I think it's under the recreation part of it, right? Let me peek at it real quick. Yeah, you're just barely ahead of us.
I am.
Yep, just
thought
barely.
I saw it up
It's
there.
actually down on the same page. So,
Oh,
yeah, so what I want to show you, I just want to make sure that you know that we're gonna highlight what the differences were from the last plan to the new one in this wording. And so, so we said, this is how we measured it in the 2017 plan, and then we're saying in the 2023 plan, we're going to establish a new measurement for park distribution level of service, which will more accurately reflect accessibility and the 0.5 mile travel shed or 10-minute travel. So, and that's the map that I showed you that's just gonna be less round and more, have the details of what the reality actually is for access. So we'll take into account barriers to access that might exist, for example, neighborhoods with no through streets, bodies of water, private property, et cetera. The 2023 update will also take into consider all publicly accessible parks, culture, or open space facilities, rather than just those owned by the city. So this is actually, we're gonna map, and we haven't done it yet, but we have a team that's gonna work on this.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna take all the, because, really what's important is that people have access to stuff, and we all know, like, together, I'm looking at you because we've talked a lot about partnerships, like together we can do more. So we really want to show, and then we'll do the travel sheds around those properties as well. So, yeah, so it'll include such things as like Tolmy State Park and there's a park district and a pool in Tanglewild, right? So we'll show that we do reference it in the plan, but this way it'll actually be on a map. So it's important to document these opportunities exist within the community and helps take a more collaborative approach to measuring need. So that's a pretty significant change for this plan as well. And then I think you're down here,
I was just there where you were at.
right here. Okay.
You continue.
So this
I
is
can't see
significant,
it.
this is significant due to the important health and wellness benefits of, right, so what we were saying is, on that note, with all the facilities, not just those owned by the city, it's important because of the health and wellness benefits of getting activity and connecting with people, socially and emotionally.
Now,
So
the
you
emotionally
had-
part, that's a word I don't like.
Oh, emotionally, okay,
Socially, that covers it all.
I see, okay,
I don't,
And
to
take
me,
out-
disabled people
Yeah.
and stuff like
see.
that.
Okay.
Classified,
yeah, if anybody does, I don't have any objections to that, if anybody else does, please. Okay, so we'll remove, yeah, under level of service.
One,
Appreciate the input, yeah. Yeah, I think, I threw that in there because when you talk about why parks matter, emotional benefits is often discussed, but I think what you're saying is social encompasses the rest, so. I need to update this section about the comments from park visitors. These are from so if it's not updated, that means it's from the original or the last copy. So I need to take the input and update that section. So in the future, a more formalized assessment of amenity conditions to include recreational value assignments will be used to help advise this plan. In addition, and actually I need to remove this. In addition, also noted in the policies and objectives, more demographic and health condition mapping can be utilized to assess need in the future. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with these layers of maps, and you can make indexes. But once you start creating the indexes, you need to also decide, how you're going to be ranking things and what's one thing is more important than the other. So that's kind of a huge project on its own. So that's a direction that a lot of, agencies are going. But it's not something that we're gonna be able to take on right now. And so what's really cool is in our policies and objectives section, we can talk about the things we're gonna do between now and the next one to make it even better than it already is. So.
Yeah, those GIS maps get very complex, especially in the building industry, the building sector, and coastal lands and all of that.
For sure, it's cool, all the stuff you can do. Let's see, and so then let's look at recreation and cultural programs, level of service. Again, there is no formal level of service when it comes to this. Within programming, there is flexibility to be able to adapt to emerging community needs. We really found that through COVID, fill the gaps that other organizations are not providing. And so, this current update will establish guiding principles for recreation and cultural services. So really it's providing and supporting recreation and cultural programs that are socially responsible, economically accountable, and equitable. And ways to do this are located in the policies and objectives. So, and again, then we mentioned in here, it's important to be able to respond to the community needs. And so we will be inserting all of the input from the community. Then we talk about the significance of partnerships under level of service, because it is really important to note that just like we talked about with the park properties, that when in terms of recreation services, we all work together. Obviously, together we can do more. So we mentioned our, strong partnerships that we have in bringing opportunities to the community. We do point out that the RAC was originally made possible with a bigger agreement. We dive into the city's joint use agreement. We talk about the athletic fields shortage. And we do mention that, 10 other fields, and we'll be updating this. Actually, Sue's has been quite helpful in this area because she's closer to the field use. Something that we recently learned about is an emerging need that the Port of Olympia fields are going to be taken offline for Thurston County Little League. And so they've been providing us some pretty distinct information on number of fields that they're going to be needing.
Can I back up one page?
Yes,
a little bit?
please.
Under the significance of partnerships, you've listed all the local agencies. We do work with various state agencies, right? Fish, wildlife, fed agencies. Can we just say state agencies?
Yeah, so in this section, it's around recreation and culture programs.
Partnerships is-
Yeah, so, yeah, actually, there might be some state, yeah. We do have the juvenile fishing program that's in Longs Pond, and that's a state agency. They stock the lake.
I just say various state agencies, and it
Yeah.
could cover
Okay.
and state and federal agencies. I don't know if you're got any programs with the feds down in Squally Refuge.
We're just adjacent. We don't actually have any programs there, but we can give that a thought.
Do you have
pass
any
through.
with the veterans programs?
Well, so the city does, we have the Veteran Services Hub in Lacey.
Yeah, they just moved over there.
Well, right off of 6.
Yeah, they have some new improvements to the facility.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because it says Vet Center, not Lacey Hub, so it kind of throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, but the Parks Department specifically doesn't, but the city has a strong, partnership there. We do partner, as mentioned, with Senior Services for South Sound. They run, senior programs out of our facility.
And that's another, conversation to have with Colonel Lamb and JBLM when you have that meeting. And for the veteran side, and bringing them back on the installation to still make them part of the military community. So, reroute them back.
Okay, yeah.
As an idea.
Yeah, programs even in the summer, just touring kids on a bus through the base.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be exciting for kids.
Open up that back gate off of Old Nisqually Road just for us. You know what I mean? Don't make me go on I-5.
Yeah, so the cool thing is, you know, when we get to the, yes, we should note them here, and then when we get to the policies and objectives, those are the things we're gonna do, so fostering
And
relationship
if you're doing the
partnerships.
wildlife one with everything that we're doing for the state wildlife, and those are partnerships, and then move to do the VA one. Give them a nod, the ones that we're gonna be coming up in the future, working with the Nisqually tribal, the Squaxin Island tribal, and the military.
Yeah, I know.
Moving into the future.
I'm trying to keep it
Park
short.
and, New purchase. That's gonna be some joint venture with Fish and Wildlife.
Potentially, so that is mentioned in the plan, in the section under the planning area where Long Lake is located, yeah. So that's, yeah.
Let's get it. Let's get it, Commissioner Larson. Let's get it.
Okay, we'll add some wording in there for the next round.
Okay.
Those are great.
Thank you,
Great
Commissioner Larson.
God, I gotta make.
Well played, sir.
Hey,
You only got a half a novel over there left.
Okay.
You're doing.
Well, I had a couple more comments.
Okay, are we still on the same page?
I don't know, I'm.
We got more times at
Let me
this.
look.
Typo on
get
one
more
of them, but I'm
chances
not
at
gonna
it.
worry about it, Sarah, that's it.
Yeah, let me
Over
see where
here,
you're at.
when we talk about full-size fields, we say 4 full-size multi-use sports fields.
Yes,
Well, each one of the high schools I designed, varsity and JV baseball fields, I think they still got them. So there would be more.
Jen, can I speak to that real quick?
yes, please, Sue.
Hey, Gary, part of the issue is with, when you're looking at the high school fields, the varsity, both the fast pitch as well as the baseball, they are not online for us to reserve or to use for the community. They have pulled them offline for every high school. So that's 2 out of their quote 4 fields. There's not any access to the community
Why?
because they want to the baseball groups say that, you know, they put a lot of extra time in and energy into keeping them and maintaining them, and they don't want anybody else to use them. And the fast pitch, to have the equity, they allowed the same thing. So we are not allowed to use the varsity softball or baseball fields at River Ridge, Timberline, or North Thurston.
And trust me, Sue and I have brought it up on numerous
That picks
occasions.
me off, because I worked for them for 21 years. But,
Don't get me started on
Burmaster's not there
River Ridge.
anymore. Is that?
Nope, he's not there anymore, but so yeah, those have been offline for us for many years, as well as the River Ridge. Well, what used to be their football field, that was not something we could allocate, nor could we allocate Timberlines.
Talk to their principal, administrator.
We do bring it up. We meet monthly with the school district, Sue and I and a couple of our staff. And yeah, I mean, it's something that we do bring up. We're happy to bring it up again, right, Sue?
Well,
Right, and the other aspect you need to also remember is with all of the influx of people, it's the influx of kids, and you got varsity, you've got JV, you've got C teams, some places you have freshmen. So especially with the soccer fields, they're being, the ones that they do have taken away the baseball aspect, they're being utilized by their programs. And you can only fit so many teams on so many fields so long. So the time frame is really constrained based on their needs to be able to do their high school sports, which is what they're there for.
Well, I agree with that, but some of those fields, when I was around there and off season or off school, summertime, they weren't using them all. There was
No.
times when.
Right, but it all kind of falls in line with the season of the sport.
Okay,
There's certain seasons, and that they all kind of fall under the same time frame, but
okay.
there's definitely a need.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep us moving here. Great, great questions. Let's see. Did you have anything else on that page?
No, I don't need that.
Okay, so this is the map I was referring to when I said just the bubbles around as the crow flies, right? So, and you saw the other one that I shared and how different it looks. And it actually, I think it might reduce our service level just a little bit, because on that other map, I don't know if you noticed, there's a bigger gap here. But at the same time, we're gonna add all the other park properties, so you'll see everything in Lansing, so probably have pretty good coverage as a whole. The park planning areas, I wasn't actually gonna go into these in much detail. There's gonna be an opportunity for that, but certainly if you had any edits in this section, does anybody have?
Yeah,
So-
I kind of went through it, it's okay, but I'm still kind of reading.
Oh, I did want to show you here. This is what I was talking about when I said I put some graphics, and we can do more of that too, just with the Great Keogh Park and Greenways master plan update. That was such a huge project that took us, a year and a half. So we did put some graphics in there and showed some of the, highlights, the programming and guiding principles for that whole project in there. But basically, these maps will all be updated.
Yeah, some of the roads were really hard to see, and I was trying to go into, like, make it bigger, but some of them are, I was trying to figure out where some of them are.
Oh, okay, so the roads are not supposed to be a highlight in these, but do you mean like I-5, like the main roads?
Yeah, one of them had like the crossover that you have from Slater City where the memorial is.
Right by Applebee's.
These,
in the
yeah,
plaza.
to go over that one.
Slater Kenny, I would like to see some of the, I'm
Yeah,
looking at the map, so where are you looking at? Are they gonna be full size on the page?
Well, yeah, as they are here, yep.
Well, I mean, bigger than, see, mine are got printed that size.
yeah, we were,
Oh, they're full page, they will be full page, yes.
But I think some cross-reference, you can find I-5 pretty easy.
Okay, so, main roads identified,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, like
Thank you.
Slater Kitty
College,
College.
Carpenter, Marvin.
Lacey,
Boulevard Pacific,
always get confused, Pacific Lacey.
because it took me forever to figure out
Would
the
it change? Yeah.
Applebee one, because I was like, there's not a green space there, so you're like, I'm like looking at, it, I'm like, where is this park at?
Yeah, it's been fun the last couple of
I
years with
can
that
imagine.
monument. They're like, what park? I'm like,
Yeah,
the flags? And they're like, yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Okay, so
it's
here's,
really,
so that's why we do the, you do that, so for each planning area, basically, there's one map, sorry, I'm making you guys dizzy, I apologize. So this is the Woodland planning area.
mhm,
This is kind of a zoomed out view, right? But you can
Right.
see all the green parks, and it shows the boundary of this planning area.
mhm.
And then there's kind of an overview park need assessment, and then we go into more closer up
Yeah, And I
maps
was
of
trying to
each
figure out-
facility.
because that's Sleater Kinney coming up, but that doesn't look like I-5 on the left coming
Oh.
on ramping. And I'm like, where
Right.
is this big green space?
Well, that space is weird anyway because it's shared space.
Space, yeah. So I was like, I was like, well, do we have, and then the green piece that's coming across, I was like, where is this ramp at that you can go over the top of on Sleater Kinney?
Well, that's the bike tunnel right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So where are you gonna put,
What's that?
it's a bike tunnel going
Yeah,
yeah.
underneath, not,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I
I was
wouldn't
trying to
go
figure
there.
out that. I know. I
Well,
know.
okay, so what we'll do is we will update the maps with the major roadways, and then we'll bring that back on the next draft.
That would be.
And then you can see if you want to tweak it from there, but that's really
Yeah,
great.
not trying to be high maintenance, it was just
No,
a little
no.
concern, I'm like, I don't know where I live.
This is what we're doing.
I don't know
Perfect.
where I live.
I couldn't find it either.
I was like, what?
54 years.
Oh, okay, well, that's,
I mean, just for ease of looking at it, I was happy to see Wonderwood. You couldn't really see anything because there's so many trees. That was awesome.
Since we're speaking of that, would, some kind of symbol, denote school sites?
yes,
A lot of games are played there, the T-ball.
yeah, so,
I mean.
so we will have all this, so on the main map, I was telling you that we'll have all the parks, even non-city. That map will include the school district facilities. Since we don't own the school district sites,
Just a dot, it's a vicinity location to help you.
Navigate.
Coming in and out of
Yeah.
town,
uh-huh,
we're playing in the tournament at Mountain View.
yeah,
Where the hell is Mountain View?
yeah,
And I think you could probably work with the school district and not spell them all out, like Mountain View, I always use MF, or Pleasant Glades is a PG, or an MV, and,
yeah, so are you saying on the maps throughout the whole thing, or just like on the main,
page that.
just one page,
You
yeah,
have a school symbol.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you want it on that symbol, a schoolhouse. Legend type with a flag.
Sure.
And say, I don't want numbers on space, but I don't know if you need to spell them all the way out. Maybe on another page.
Mhm. That's a great idea.
One, of course, I would love the intercity transit bus routes on one of these.
Oh, yes, we are, yes. The GIS is working on frequent transit routes, and it'll show how it's related to our parks. Yes.
I'm excited about that.
Yep,
Which bus
that's-
route?
That's part of the, I'll show you, I'm trying to get to the policy section, sorry, guys.
No,
This is
we're-
just search.
We're the ones looking
Okay.
for, because I think you wrote it down on there that you were doing, there's something in a policy.
Yeah,
or
and the
something.
policies, okay, woo. And also on this note, the policies and objectives are gonna go right after the strategic goals.
Okay, thank you.
So, to the point of like having to search all the way down the document for it. So, did you have something, Commissioner?
Yes, but yeah, it's one of those. Since she had talked about the transit and, we had talked about the rack and, you guys are getting ready to pave that area. And I had brought up Nisqually, all of the mass of children, go across the street. And I was trying to think of, my brain's been thinking of alternatives. I didn't know what possibilities there would be for the local PD to possibly come after school daily. Unfortunately, I know that's kind of the cost, to have somebody, and you guys are already limited, but with children that are there crossing the street, because like my daughter, it's really chaotic, especially when like they have teams playing. Because I've had my child's gone across the street with their friends, and I've had to navigate that parking lot, and like all the kids are running across the street on scooters or whatever. And I didn't know if that like increased security for those middle schoolers, to make sure, keep them from running out in the road, for traffic, to try to, instead of asking for a bridge to go over, which is a big ask, I didn't know how much of an ask it would be for the police, but in comparison, God forbid, a kid runs out, there is no comparison to that, but I really, really feel strongly that something needs to be done. That something needs to be put into that space for that reason, because, these kids, especially middle schoolers, not thinking, not paying attention, and, trying to catch up with friends or whatever.
Marvin?
Yeah,
just
getting
gonna ask-
across Marvin, like from Nisqually. So basically cross this way and then this way, but like they go all always, like I've seen them cross this way, depending if the light changes, like they'll be on either side and cross this way.
So an overhead walkway is what you're thinking?
Instead of an overhead walkway, getting a police officer at that time, or even talk to the school, I don't know, something.
Actually, I think the best approach would be, that's a state highway.
That is considered a state highway, well, like, that was my thought,
An overpass thing, some kind
For
of
state-
sign, put it in this one now, as a life safety.
well, would that be something we could put up or notate?
Yeah, so that
That
would be
was my-
different than this. Yeah, it would be, I think, separate from this plan, but
Well, I wasn't, I didn't know that. My thought process was just between that and then the monstrous traffic down whatever that road is and taking a right down the road to go to Nisqually. Like I have been parked on that road waiting in line to go into the school to get my kids. So you have that factor on top of, you know, people not knowing how to drive and then kids running out and trying to get over. Well, I just thought of it because it's our park, you know what I mean? And part of our park system, and they're going to the park to hang out.
Yes, right, so,
That was the only reason my brain and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Well, I think there's
And
multiple.
it's a matter of
that's
time.
something we could, yeah, the board can
Another
talk
idea
about.
of that,
Sorry.
since we got on the subject, brainstorming, I guess we're.
I'm
kinda-
sorry.
No,
I didn't
no,
mean
no.
to, I
I've
didn't.
got
we should
mine
stay-
And I think about all that, you
Well,
guys-
due to
own,
time, I think we
I'm
might
sorry.
have to, I think due to
I'm so
time, we
sorry.
may have to move on to
Well,
this and,
30 seconds.
okay,
That's
and
kind of
go.
the idea.
Okay.
She
Not
said
50.
transit, my brain went there, I'm
Okay.
sorry. It's okay.
What about putting, we own the land across from there, right?
Yeah.
Across from the Squally on the
Yes.
Stellicum Road. That's 20-some acres.
Yes,
And that's all gonna be, what about putting under tunnel, walk tunnel lighted? And,
in the, when we start looking at the development of that,
yeah, I
that
mean, there's
phase.
another option to look at. there
Something that could be
because
looked
they're
at,
gonna be
yeah.
So closely related.
Yeah.
Parking and.
And then state funding is always good.
yeah, well, yes, and I know police is very short-staffed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, I thought that might be cheaper than,
Yeah.
and then the school, you know,
Maybe doing those orange flags where you walk across the street for right now, for the interim. Where you take the orange flag on one side and walk across on the other, like you do on the east side. Where those little
And I
flags-
just-
Where Ralph's Slipway is, where you have to use I mean, just so,
I know even when they pave that, I know they're still gonna go over there.
I think there's multiple sites on that area though, from Marvin all the way over there. I mean, that's like a
Oh,
5-lane.
they're going in the
freeway.
mushroom farm.
Yeah, yeah, there's
going in the-
multiple spots, I think, on both of those corridors, like, they're
Yeah.
gonna need some assistance. But for
Yes,
strategy.
and that's
goal
where we would
number
pull in our
one-
transportation folks, yeah, and that, whenever something goes in the, the city has a pretty extensive review and traffic studies that goes into that, but that could certainly be something that I can figure out how to work that into a future conversation.
Thank you. Sorry, I
No, it's okay.
don't know what is what, so.
Okay, so let's see, here we are in policies and objectives, and so basically, under each strategic goal, which will obviously update the wording to match.
Thank you.
And this will be closer to the beginning of the plan. I really do think it belongs there. Basically, you have the policies listed in 1, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth, and then the objectives to be able to, so it breaks it down into more detail from there. And so I was actually just gonna highlight some of the major changes. If they're minor like this, I won't bring them up, but certainly stop me if you have input on these. So I did add under number 3, protecting city assets by maintaining parks, culture, recreation facilities at a high standard of care. So we mentioned this before in the level of service, conducting park and facility assessments and making recreational value assignments to guide future investments. This would be something that would be done in-house, or maybe we would get a consultant, in the future. So that's something that was added. So moving forward, we can work on that. And then I did add under creating sound planning structure and accountability for all recreation business areas. I put in the objectives, establishing cost recovery levels, conduct program assessments, determine what metrics to use for program and facility evaluation. And our staff has already started on some of these and then creating business plans for all of our business areas. And then due to the shortage of athletic fields for community use, determine where additional fields can be installed on current properties to ensure sufficient land is available for community sports and sports use and regional draw. And the reason I took out acquiring additional athletic properties is because we're no longer in an acquisition phase. It's more about developing the fields that we have. So Meridian Park, there's fields that are not developed there. There's potential at the rec phase 3. So the city has places, we just need to figure out how to find funding to develop, and then even more importantly, to maintain and operate. That's where we fall short. So objectives moving forward is doing a little more work on establishing a level of service for athletics fields, and then establishing a plan to reach those levels. That one wasn't a big change. This one, I did add some language in here about removing access barriers and providing free parks and scholarships. This one, providing parks in close proximity. So all the stuff we talked about under level of service, the changes we're making, this policy, the objectives reflect those. So using the GIS systems to provide more accurate access and demographic maps. This is where I mentioned I need to add the transit one as one of these.
When I saw that in there, I was so excited.
Let's see if there's any other. Okay, so under number 2, which is leveraging investment, I did add language that I just spoke to about ongoing maintenance and operation, trying to find funding for that. I added sponsorships into different types of funding. Let's see. How many? I did add one under strengthening partnerships. And actually, this is where the other conversation that we had about adding the military partners, that would go in here, and state partners as well. Yeah. So we'll mention it in both sections. We'll mention it under level of service and partnering, and then under the policy to back that. Not a ton of updates in here, but again, you know, if you see anything that needs updating, I did under number 4, I did add quite a bit about the museum project and the Lacey Depot. So I felt like it was lacking, but those are emerging projects, right? Also, the Historical Commission is going to be looking at this, and they're probably going to have a lot to say about this section. So you'll probably notice that I did add quite a bit in there. So number 5, utilizing sustainable systems. We did add bringing in the DEI, which is diversity, equity, inclusion components to this plan, and that's where the Commission on Equity is going to help us. Mapping the health metrics to determine how to index them in the future with the socioeconomic access maps to help us determine community need moving forward. Critical areas, so this is where we'd want to add the wildlife information that you suggested into the policies. We'll do that. Trails and linkages. Okay, so here's our prioritized actions. And so as we mentioned earlier, when you asked about the length of the plan, so the 5-year segment that will focus on like the prioritized projects would be from 2023 to 2028. And the next plan update is 2029. So I did make some significant changes here based on the public input that we got in. So I don't know if you guys have questions or additions. We talk about park development, field developments, Exploring the partnership for a baseball stadium at St. Martin's University. So a lot of this stuff too is gonna overlap with the city council's work plan, which was adopted in, I wanna say September of 2022. For the Wood Bat League opportunity, Lacey Museum and Cultural Center has been updated to more recent information. Under master planning, we know that we need to pursue the Meridian Campus North neighborhood master plan. We need to update the Long Lake master plan with the addition of the adjacent property. We know that people have expressed they want the indoor pool and wellness hub. This is pursuing that partnership, the Young Child Family Center, which has a pool. We know that people want indoor spaces, so I updated that. We know that people want spray parks. We know there's still interest in indoor sports, so I updated the wording there. And then we do have a programming section. And I updated the Lake Lowe's Habitat Reserve, yep, which is also on your work
That's
plan.
when I saw it and I knew, I was like, I know it's here. That's what I meant.
Yep, and then we go out further, so I kind of just followed the pattern from the last plan, which is 12 years. So you focus on, you know, the next 5, and then it's like the next 12 after that. Some of the things on the horizon, obviously pursuing the next phase for Great Cuyo Park. Actually, that one maybe should go. Oh, I do have it. Okay, so I think the reason it's in both places is because there are so many phases. So good. I just want to make sure.
That's
I
your
had
right,
it in
phase
both.
1 and the next one.
Exactly. Yep, so that's a biggie. That'll be ongoing, as we know, it's a 20-year plan, basically. Yeah, so we have some facility upgrades listed, some master planning. There's a trail category. Potential new facilities, acquisition, we mentioned, we're, you know, moving over to a development phase. And we got to cross this one off the list because we got it, Long Lake. So there is your overview. I know it's a lot. And like I said, next steps is we will, if the board is agreeable for this direction, is we'll make the edits that we talked about tonight. We will accept all the changes. Well, actually, we will accept the changes first, then we'll make your suggested edits so that you can see those tracked. That'll be easier for us to see those. So we'll do that. And then we'll bring it back the next time.
So I mentioned earlier, I call this draft 1, and then draft 2 coming out. How many drafts do we get? 3? Do we cut it off? When do we have to have this done?
Okay, so good question. So in the timeline, we need final council approval by August of this year. So, and before we do that, it needs to go through the planning commission a couple different times, and there'll be a public hearing for that, and they will run that for us. And so what Sarah and I need to do actually is on our list. We need to figure out, it'll come to you each month, but how many drafts? I think 3 is probably a good, yeah. I mean, there might be, it's probably gonna be based on where we're at, and if we need to show another draft, we'll do that. We need to go through the dates and really refine, like, when is it going next to Commission on Equity? When is it going first, for the first time, to the Planning Commission? So, yep. Yeah, so we'll bring that, it's actually on our list, and we will bring that to our next meeting.
Okay, now I got a question, and I'm gonna, just in general, I noticed in here, your mitigation is tied to water meters. I gathered out of here that, you know, a developer has to pay mitigation fees for roads, police, parks, all the, you know, departments by law. How does parks collect the mitigation fund? There's a city steel one.
Well, so that's a great question. Let's see.
I read something in here about a meter, something about water. meters.
Is it right here? Portions of the property does
Oh,
say.
I don't know, it was way earlier, I think, but somehow I gathered, I was thinking, well, the mitigation, by state
yeah.
law was only permitted for certain uses, parks, schools, traffic, things, all
Well, does it go through
Uh,
the same process of being assessed by the ecology department and they do the?
So I know there is a mitigation report that was done during the master planning for Great Cuyo Park specifically. And I know that there are mitigation opportunities and there is funding potentially available because of that.
that. It should have been ongoing.
Well, so, and so are you talking about the past or just Great Cuyo Park?
Well, 20 years ago, I was collecting mitigation when I worked for North Thurston for developers. To get a building permit, you had to pay mitigation to the school district, the parks, the police, the fire department, to certain agencies that were approved to receive impact fees.
Yeah,
And you
I know,
had to
that's what
count
Commissioner
for
Good
it.
asked about the impact fees too.
Well, that's, I mean, like, with this, it would probably be associated with whoever would be actually carrying out the contract or contractors. That would be my assumption.
No, that usually what it's done, if I got a 40-lot subdivision.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and
but
yeah.
Getting permit,
Yeah, okay, so let me, yeah, so as a broad
I know
overview,
what you're talking
Parks
about.
does not receive impact fees as it is now, as it is right now. And I don't know, I don't think that Parks has historically. I can find out though from our planning department.
City and county, each one will have a different one.
everyone's got to adopt their own.
Yeah, well, they don't have to. It's a choice.
It's a choice. And the
Yeah.
School district didn't for years. And they
Yeah.
Finally went and started collecting mitigation fees
Yeah.
for the developers with the impact on their schools,
Mhm.
land purchases.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so that, and then I know that route.
I used to lobby for the building industry and I used to argue the percentage of impact fees. So I totally get you. I got you.
We're on the
I
same
got you.
page.
And
I was
Lacey
wondering
is,
why we as park department.
well,
some of
Lacey,
the
yeah,
curriculum
well,
around us.
well, the building industry is pretty fond of Lacey because of lack of impact fees. So it's friendly.
Yeah, so currently how we're set up is that Parks does not receive impact fees, but the city does. I can have someone from planning come and give an update on that if that's helpful. But I do want to say that there is a mitigation plan for Great Cuyo Park specifically. Because, well, actually, that's more of the wetland mitigation stuff, not impact fees related. So there is opportunities, there's potential opportunities for funds for parks to come into Great Cuyo Park in the future.
Maybe the school
in the
at
future.
City level, they didn't ask for what mitigation fees, and they could be, so maybe internally.
I believe the way it's set up right now is that they come into the Community and Economic Development Department. But I would need to get some
I don't know that.
yeah, so I would need to get some more clarity on that.
Well, in the municipal code, it lists out what the impact fees are, and it looks like they have a deferral up to 18 months for the collection of the impact fees.
Right, but it doesn't say the city's getting them, but the parks aren't getting them specifically.
I just need to read through here real quick.
That's correct. Parks is not getting them specifically.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. But it's a good conversation to have because one of the challenges as identified in the plan is, how do we find sustainable sources of funding? So, so actually, if the board would like, we could have an update from the planning department on that.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Okay.
Things have changed in 20 years, I know that.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Larson wants some mitigation updates.
So long to the next one. So much.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, so that is your comprehensive plan draft. Are we good with that? Moving on to our next item. We have the director's report, staff presentation.
Yep, yeah, no Steph, I'll take this one. Yep, Steph, we have Sue up for a couple different topics and there she is. Hello, Sue.
Hi, Sue.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We just got done with our report.
Oh, I know. I've been here. I've been
We're
here.
swirling.
Wake up.
Yes, we're
Way
ready.
to go, Gary. Way to drag it out for me. I'm gonna kind of combine them too, because I've got the sports commission as well as our staff deal, and they kind of all intertwined. So real quick, I'm gonna show you the not quite finalized the economic impact for the regional athletic complex that we do through the Visit Olympia and Beyond, the sports, well, it's not the sports commission, but they have this, the calculator for us, and they do all that for us. So to date, and you have to also keep in mind that there's only one, I think there's 2 or 3 of the actual soccer fields on there, and that's one of the goals that I have for Sean for next year, is to figure out a way to better capture the use for the fields over in the soccer side. But right now, with just the 3 weekends lacking, their estimated direct impact is $15,907,000 and $167,000. So we are definitely coming back. And there's quite a few. The ultimate frisbee was 1 million. One of the soccer tournaments was 1.8 million. Super draft was almost 1.1 million. So we've got a couple really large events that we are bringing into this community. There's definitely an asset all the way around for not only just the city, but the county and everything in between, because they're not only using our hotels and everything else, because they're getting those bigger ones, they're having to spread out to everybody. And so I thought that was a really good sign that things are coming back up and things are getting back to where we want them to be.
Yeah, and Sue, I wanted to highlight too, that actually the last 3 tournaments of the year aren't even captured yet on that. So
Correct.
that number for 2022 will be higher as far as the economic impact that the RAC is bringing in.
Yeah, and those 3 aren't going, they're going to be impactful and everything. And that's what I was trying to explain, Sean. Even when they bring the select teams into town and out of town, every little bit adds up, and we need to figure out a way to capture that soccer side, because we're not showing our true value, and that's something that we really need to do. And the other aspect of it that we're not counting into this for the impact is like Polyfest and these other community events. We've got to figure out how to put those into our calculations as well, because they are bringing people in, and there is a lot of use and a lot of money spent, and those aren't being accounted for. So there's a few things that we're working on that we've got to kind of get a little bit better on. I think we've gotten to a point where, especially with the softball, we're pretty fine-tuned, but now we just need to broaden it to the other areas. As for the rest of the department, some of the fun news is we just had registration middle of last month. And the day of registration, we brought in $37,804. The part that I find very interesting is $3,200 of that was all off of the web. So majority, 75 or more % of the people that are registering and taking part in our programs are doing it. They're registering via the web. We only had less than $6,000 that came in through our front office. The rest of it was all via the website. So people are using it, they're getting engaged by it, and that's pretty cool. The other kind of interesting thing is we had the stories and songs that went along with the holiday lights out at Hunterman. And with that program, they have a way that they can kind of track how many people are viewing when they click on to listen to the music. There was 347 views. Of those, 232 stayed on and listened to the whole thing. So that was kind of interesting. And the other areas where we were looking at some of the things that we're trying to be able to track via the website, the internet, is a lighted parade. They had 200 or 2,400 views. There was 1,800 views from our homepage. There was, what was the other one? From the event side, it was clicked on 744 times. From the community center, cultural and recreation side, things were clicked on 819 times. So we're getting a lot of views within the website, which is pretty nice to see. The other exciting thing is when we hit COVID, we entered into this area where we tried to figure out how to get as much information out to people as we could without having to really hand off anything to them. And so we created the Lacey Parks newsletter, and it's celebrating its second year this December. We've had 24 issues of it. We have 8,000, just under 8,000 people on the mailing list. And we added 2,941 people to our list since December 2021. So it's continuing to grow, which is really nice to see. And they also have an area within that they can tell how many where there's called the hits. I'm not really up on it, but it's, and our hits have been in between the 40 to 50 open rate. And most of the people that are using this type of marketing strive for 30%, but we've hit 40 to 50. So I think we're doing really good with that. Some of the other things that are going on, we had the Elks Hoop Shoot on the 17th of December, and we had 8 of our local schools participated in ours, because Tumwater does it, Olympia does it, and we do one, and then we do our local ones, and then they get together and do it together to go to like a regional phase, and then they go on to, I believe, the state. Out of those 8 schools, we had 32 athletes that showed up, and we ended up moving 4 of them on to the next level. The Elks have a newsletter that comes out, and one of the things that the quote that they put is, I just wanted to share this for you from the 12-17 turnout for just a hoop shoot for Lacey. We had a total of, like I said, the 28 participants, 9 schools. I also attached one of the things that he said is that they said is Doug Briggs is a new Lacey and Parks and Recreation staff, and Doug did an outstanding job along with all the other school coordinators. It was great to have him on board. So that was kind of a nice kudos for Doug. Lacey Youth Basketball is about ready to wrap up its last couple weeks. And yeah, I'll let you guys go before 8 o'clock. Because it's past Gary's bedtime.
Thank you, Sue. Uh-oh, Aaron's muted, or Commissioner.
Where are you going? Oh, I thought we we're just getting started.